Second white coat. Subscribe and like. Let's learn medicine together.
Today, we're jumping right into a real-life medical detective story. Seriously, this is about a disease that moves with such terrifying speed it can baffle doctors and just devastate families. It's a story that takes us from a completely healthy, working man to a comatose patient in just a handful of months, and it all comes down to a single protein, gone rogue.
Everything starts with this single, chilling sentence from a patient's case file. It just perfectly captures the shocking reality of this illness. I mean, think about that. 4 months ago, he was healthy and working normally. Just 4 months. That's it. A timeline like that immediately tells doctors they are not dealing with any kind of typical neurological decline.
So let's actually walk through this timeline because the progression is just catastrophic. Month 1, you have a totally normal 56-year-old man. By month 2, confusion starts to set in, his personality changes. Those are the first signs that something is deeply, deeply wrong. Just 1 month later, he needs full assistance with everything: eating, bathing, basic self-care. And by month 4, he's comatose, in the hospital, and tragically, he passes away.
Now, beyond that incredibly fast cognitive decline, there's another really crucial clue here: myoclonus. These are sudden, involuntary, jerky movements, usually in the arms and legs. You know, when a doctor sees dementia moving this quickly and it's paired with myoclonus, it immediately points away from the usual suspects and towards something much, much rarer.
So, what in the world could possibly be happening inside this man's brain to cause such a total and rapid system failure? I mean, how does a healthy brain just disintegrate in 120 days? This is the central mystery the medical team had to figure out.
And the diagnosis? It's a rare and devastating condition called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, or CJD. This is the classic example of a whole group of illnesses known as Prion diseases, which are, frankly, some of the strangest and most frightening things known to science.
And that brings us to the big question: what on earth is a prion disease? Well, it's a disorder caused by misfolded proteins. But this is where the science gets truly mind-bending. Unlike every other infectious agent we know, viruses, bacteria, you name it, prions have zero genetic material. No DNA, no RNA. They're just protein. A protein that can, somehow, infect you.
So how does a simple protein do all this damage? Well, it all comes down to a change in shape. In our brains, we all have this normal protein called PrPᶜ. Its structure is mostly a curly shape, an alpha-helix. But in CJD, this protein misfolds into a dangerous new form called PrPᶜ, which is dominated by these flat, kind of sticky beta-pleated sheets. It's the exact same protein, just with a deadly new architecture.
And this is the absolute core of the problem. A single misfolded prion acts like a bad influence, like a template for disaster. When it bumps into a healthy, normal protein, it basically forces it to change shape, converting it into another dangerous prion. It's a terrifying chain reaction, this cascade of corruption that just spreads like wildfire through the brain.
We can actually break this down into 3 steps. First up, initiation. One single protein misfolds for whatever reason. Then propagation. That one rogue protein starts converting all of its healthy neighbors. And finally, aggregation. These misfolded prions are incredibly sticky, so they clump together, forming these long, toxic chains that end up killing brain cells.
Okay, so we've got this chain reaction happening on a microscopic level, creating these toxic clumps of protein. But what does that actually do to the physical structure of a person's brain? How does it lead to those awful symptoms we saw earlier?
The result, which is often only seen at autopsy, is, well, it's horrifying. The process leads to something called spongiform change. And it means exactly what it sounds like. Microscopic holes, or vacuoles, start forming in the gray matter. The brain literally becomes riddled with holes, just like a sponge. This causes a massive and super fast loss of neurons, and the entire brain actually starts to shrink.
And that is the terrifying answer to why the symptoms progress so unbelievably fast. This isn't a slow decline. It's an exponential, runaway chain reaction that is physically destroying brain tissue, literally turning it into a sponge. That explains the rapid fall from a healthy person to someone in a coma in just a matter of months.
Now, at this point, you might be thinking, okay, a misfolded protein causing dementia, that sounds an awful lot like Alzheimer's disease. And you know what? That's a great question. But the distinction between them is absolutely critical.
This chart really makes it clear just how different CJD is. I mean, look at the timeline. That's the most dramatic difference right there. CJD happens over months. Alzheimer's takes years. The key symptoms are also different. CJD has that telltale myoclonus, whereas something like Lewy body dementia often involves hallucinations. And then, at the molecular level, the culprit protein is completely different for each disease. It's the prion protein in CJD, beta amyloid and tau in Alzheimer's, and alpha-synuclein in Lewy body.
All right, so let's put this all together. Let's lock in the prion's deadly signature, the key features that really define this unique and devastating disease.
So, what are the big takeaways here? Just remember these 4 things. 1, the incredibly rapid timeline. 2, the signature symptom of myoclonus, those sudden jerky movements. 3, the spongy form damage it causes, leaving the brain full of tiny holes. And 4, it's all driven by that one misfolded, self-replicating prion protein. So let's end on this thought, because it's pretty wild. We've seen how a simple protein, one of the basic building blocks of our bodies, can misfold and act just like a virus, spreading its corrupted shape without any genetic material at all. It completely challenges our definition of what an infectious disease even is. And it really makes you wonder, what other secrets are still hidden in the complex origami of life's proteins?